Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News Update. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Today's topic, locally here in Trinidad and Tobago again, former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith. I keep saying this, an actual intelligent man, someone I don't always agree with, but extremely intelligent. When you hear about that man speaking about a situation, you get to actually understand it, and he uses a lot of sense and knowledge when he's addressing an issue. And this is not a mama guy, because he himself have seen comments from me in the past, and I don't always agree with him. But getting back to the report, former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith has strongly refuted claims made by Phillip Edward Alexander suggesting he utilized a state of emergency to detain individuals without evidence. In a recent statement, Griffith clarified that a video he released warning about the dangers of politicians possessing the power to incarcerate citizens was not a political attack, but a general caution. And he's made that clear in this video that he said, I am not trying to imply that this is what is taking place right now. He's saying, but it can take place in the future. But we all know it's very possible it is already taking place, people, and we are seeing signs that it is taking place. But of course, none of us know for sure that anyone in particular has that agenda, so we can't call names and say for sure. We can say that the Prime Minister is definitely abusing her authority by continuing to declare a state of emergency and these no protest zones and so forth, and her glorification of the rogue TTPS. We can say that. Can we say for sure that they are telling the Commissioner of Police to ask for these detention orders or to pursue or to target any of the political opponents? No, we can't. We can just say that it is possible and it is seeming that way. At least I am saying it is seeming that way, but I can't say for sure, just like how Gary Griffith cannot either. Griffith noted that his warning was meant to highlight that if this became the standard, right, because that's the precedent being set, it could affect everyone, including those in power and their supporters. Exactly. Sometime in the future, if the political tables changed. And it's not about if. We know most likely, I keep saying this, Trinidadians vote PNM by default. We're not talking about UNC small base in South. We're talking about Trinidadians in general vote PNM by default. Swing voters vote PNM by default. It's not even about if, it is when. Unless we get a strong third party to be able to give us an option in 2030. He asserted that Alexander predictably injected race into the discourse by saying, I live rent-free in Philip's head, and because I understand where his obsession with me comes from, I expected my very sober video would trigger him. Addressing Alexander's suggestion that an investigation into Prime Minister Keith Rowley should have been opened following the email gate closure, Griffith cited parliamentary privilege. And Gary's right about that. Rowley made those statements in Parliament. It's just like how I said. I am assuming it's quite possible that the Prime Minister herself will also wait until she's in Parliament to make a statement about this recent controversy, this recent detaining of significant members of society. She might wait for opportunity in Parliament to address this issue. He remarked that Rowley's statement occurred within Parliament, noting that even the youngest secondary school student knows such statements are legally protected. He's right. He is right. I'm sorry to say it, people, but Gary is right. Griffith challenged Alexander directly, stating, show one case where I held anyone unlawfully under the state of emergency. He sent police for them and arrested them, but did not detain them for any longer than the law requires, people. The normal law, we're not talking about the SOE. He maintained that he understood the due process and natural justice, emphasizing that the power to revoke a citizen's freedom must never be abused for political convenience. Referencing a specific incident in Sealot, Griffith noted that while arrests could have been made, he instead chose to let them do a video as a warning to others and release them, terming it proactive policing. Now, of course, the one in Sealot, I think it was with the kids, and I did not agree with it up to then, and I still don't agree with it now. And I commented on his post, not this was not his post, this was a media report, but I did comment on his post, a very good post that he made last night, And I made it clear, Gary, you know for a fact that there were things that I did not agree with what you did. And this is one of the cases. I did not like what it is he did with those with those youths. The police could have gone to speak to them to say that is not the kind of language you should be using online and speaking to your elders and so forth. But putting them on the stony ground by the river and things like that, I will never agree with that. I do not like how police use their powers to intimidate citizens. And that was just one case. There was also the incident where a man from Sangre Grande was questioning the chair incident. Now, Gary Griffith has since then explained that the chair incident was not what the media portrayed it to be. The man fell off a chair in the hospital. Not while in custody. But that's a whole different conversation. But the reality is, at that point in time, nobody really understood the chair incident. And a guy from Grande, quite an intelligent guy from Grande, raised questions about it. And lo and behold, police officers went to his door and spoke to him, interviewed him, I think for approximately 3 hours. That was wrong, Gary Griffith. You made mistakes while you were commissioner of police. I don't believe, and that's what I'm going to say in this commentary, I don't believe that you made as many mistakes as those that came after you, but you did. And I hope one day you will humble yourself enough to admit that errors were made. You're on the right track, Gary, as many politicians do at times, and you are a politician at the end of the day. But you are on the right track in a lot of ways. And I commend you for that. You're on the right track. You support the government when you should. And you are giving them sound advice when you should as well. So my response online. Gary is giving sound advice to the UNC government. I'm not going to take that back. I'm never going to take it back. When I make a statement, I mean it. But sadly, most humans do. As most humans do, he will never admit that he also made some errors while he was commissioner of police, including the incident when youths were forced to lay down on the hard, stony ground, and also when cops interviewed a guy from Grande for about 3 hours simply because he voiced his opinion about the famous chair incident. As I said before, Gary Griffith clarified things later on. You understand what I'm showing you? Most of us did not really understand because of the media about that chair incident. We really did think that the man fell off of a chair while in custody with the police. That is not what took place. Gary was well known for a few moments later arrests or TTPS visits if anyone made controversial statements during Rowley's lockdowns. That's a reality. So this abuse of power by TTPS did occur throughout Rowley's second term in office, even while Gary was commissioner of police. In spite of disagreeing with you in the past, and even to this very day to an extent, I am thankful that you are raising an alarm about this issue in a way that I, Nathaniel Rajkumar, cannot do with a small following I have online. I could never reach the amount of people that Gary Griffith can reach. Maybe in the future, but not at this point in time. I've been trying my best to warn UNC supporters that the autocratic police state monster, which they are creating today, which is even more vicious than the one PNM unleashed in the past. This monster today is greater than the PNM's monster, will be used by the PNM in the future. The PNM wouldn't go and lock up this monster that's been created, They will feed it and even make it more powerful. So will be used by the PNM in the future to pour out their wrath upon all those who oppose or even criticize them. I honestly believe that many citizens are under some sort of spiritual spell. This is not normal at all, because it's beyond logic to support these same oppressive laws and policies, which we all despise. When Rowley was reigning with an iron fist for 9.5 years, we were all crying dictatorship, except for the PNM patriots. The rest of us were crying dictatorship. Now they supported it. That is hypocrisy, people, and to me that is spiritual blindness. I didn't agree with many actions taken by yourself when you were commissioner of police, Gary, but I must admit, as I said just now, I must admit that I can't remember you detaining anyone for a longer period of time without charges being laid than what the Constitution allows. No one can say that Gary Griffith, during his time as commissioner of police, detained anyone for longer than, I think is what? Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 24 hours. Or either 24 or 48 hours. I think it's 48, right? Never. So even if people gave him little chats or whatever, and police went for them because I think they were probably liming in places that it wasn't supposed to lime or whatever, they were arrested, they were taken into custody, and then they were released. You understand what I'm showing you? This government has taken things to a whole new level where people are being detained and detained for months at a time. Look at what he had. It's over a week now because of this preventive detention order. What is taking place is a serious trampling of our constitution, people. Serious trampling of our constitution, and it will be used against you UNC fanatics in the future. All those who are mocking you, Gary, right now will beg for your intervention in the future. When PNM wins in 2030, swing voters will never trust the UNC again. Rest assured about that, my dear UNC supporters throughout Trinidad and Tobago, especially in the South, which is UNC's base. Your base is too small to win the elections on your own. You need Sangre Grande. You need Central. You need a parts of the northern areas. You cannot win that election on your own. And when you are flying in the face of the same people that you need to vote for you and laughing and mocking them, you expect to really win? It is never going to happen again. Never, ever, ever.
Weather report for Wednesday, July 1, 2026, Trinidad and Tobago. Wednesday, July 1, 2026 will bring fair to partly cloudy, hazy, and breezy conditions across Trinidad and Tobago, accompanied by scattered, isolated light showers. High temperatures will reach 31 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius, but it will feel as hot as 34 degrees Celsius due to the high humidity. A significant update from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service highlights a moderate to high concentration of Saharan dust entering the atmosphere. Sensitive individuals should take necessary health precautions. Key weather parameters. Temperature range, maximum daytime high of 31 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius with an overnight low dropping to 24 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius. Heat index expected to peak at 34 degrees Celsius, making the air feel significantly hotter than the actual temperature reading. Wind, easterly to southeasterly winds blowing between 0.5 to 40 km per hour. Winds may become gusty near any isolated showers. Marine conditions, moderate seas in open waters with wave heights from 1.5 meters to 2.0 meters. Sheltered areas will experience waves between 1.0 meters to 1.5 meters, though occasionally choppy. Note that spring tides are currently in effect. Sun schedule: sunrise is at 5:43 a.m. and sunset will be at 6:29 p.m. Bible quote of the day. Proverbs 4:20-23. Wisdom and guarding the heart. A call to listen closely to wisdom, keep it in your heart, and protect your inner life as the source of all actions. My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart. For they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news update. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.